Good morning. We are going to start lesson 2 today. So yesterday we were introduced to inequalities. Today we are going to use the inequalities and we're going to take word statements and be able to write an inequality statement to represent that. So let's first of all, right up here at the top of our page, that we are taking notes. This is not a worksheet in our binders, but it is a set of notes for lesson 2 in unit 3. So we are going to take word statements and we are going to be able to write inequality statements instead for them. So here's an example. Blake has a younger sister. Blake is 21 years old. The variable P represents the sister's age. The inequality for this would be P is less than 21. Let's take a look here. We have the sister is younger. We know that Blake is 21. P is going to represent our unknown. We do not know how old the sister is. We only know that she's younger than Blake. So the inequality, they say, that represents that is P is less than 21. Let's take that and write that off to the side of our number line over here. And it's a little bit hard to tell what is shaded on this because the shaded part actually is lighter. So let's kind of redo this. This circle, the end point of 21, Blake's age, is open because she doesn't say she can be the same age as Blake. She has to be younger than him. So all of these going this direction, let's make that a thick, dark shading so that we can see that that's the part that represents the sister's age. So the sister can be anything under 21. She can't be 21 because she has to be younger. So this is what we're going to be doing in this first side of our notes here. So now we have Todd, who has an older sister who is 16. So this time it's the sister's age that we know. Older sister is 16. So what does that mean for Todd? That means Todd is younger. Todd is younger in this situation. The sister is the older one. We know her age is 16. So that 16 ends up being our endpoint, our number part of our inequality. So what's the unknown? We do not know Todd's age. The only thing we know is that he's younger. So let's put that the variable P represents Todd's age. So our unknown in this one is Todd's age. We know that he's younger than his sister. We know that his sister is 16. So that means our variable P, Todd's age, is less than 16 because he is younger. So let's put that off to the side of our number line over here. P is less than 16. So first of all, we have to locate our endpoint of 16. They've already started a number line for us here. So we're going to pick, where would 16 be? It's going to be between 15 and 20. And there are 5 units between 15 and 20. 16 is only 1 unit more than 15. So it would go probably about right there. This is the sister's age. Todd is not her age. So we put an open circle there. Todd is younger than his sister, so that has to be one of these numbers going in this direction, in the direction of the 15 and down. So Todd is somewhere in the region of 0 to 15. Okay. Let's move on to Bev. Now we're not talking about age, what kind of. Bev is in a higher grade at school than Billy. Billy is in the 3rd grade. Okay, so what do we know? We know that Billy is in the 3rd grade. We're also talking about Bev. It says she's in a higher grade at school, so Bev is in a higher grade. We don't know what grade she's in, but we do know that she's in a higher grade than Billy, who is in 3rd grade. So P is going to represent the grade Billy's in. The grade Billy is in. That's what our variable is going to represent. What grade in school is he at? Okay, so we start our inequality with our unknown, P, the grade Billy is in. Remember, I messed that up. It isn't Billy that we don't know, it's Bev's grade that we don't know. So we need to erase that. The grade Bev is in, sorry about that. We already know what grade Billy's in. So we've had to change our variable to be the grade Bev is in. She is in a higher grade. P is her grade. So her grade has to be greater than the grade Billy's in, which is 3rd grade. So P is greater than 3. We'll come over here and put it to the side of our number line. So 3 is the grade Billy's in. That's where our open circle is going to go. Bev, who's in a higher grade, would be in a grade going to the right of 3. So Bev's either in 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, who knows? But we have to represent it as a group of numbers because that's all the information we have. Okay, let's go on to Bob is taller than Bud. Bud is 6 feet tall. Okay, let's see if I cannot mess this one up this time. Bud is 6 feet tall. So we do not know Bob. So I'm right here, I'm going to go ahead and put Bob so I don't mess this one up right away. Bob is taller than Bud. Bob is taller. So we're talking about height in this situation. We do not know how tall Bob is, so the variable P is going to represent Bob's height. Bob's height is our unknown. We know how tall Bud is. He's 6 feet tall. We know that Bob's taller, so that means he's more than 6 feet tall. So the inequality would be P is greater than 6. Okay, so again, we start at 6 because that is Bud's height, but Bob is not his height or taller. He is taller than him, so we do not color in the circle at 6. 6 is not a possibility for Bob's height, but anything above 6 is a possibility. Okay, so let's move on to our last one on the front side here. Kyle has more CDs than his sister. His sister has 10 CDs. So there's something about Kyle that we don't know, but we do know that he has more CDs than his sister. So Kyle has more. So the variable P represents number. We're talking about CDs this time. So the number of CDs Kyle has. So our inequality, the number of CDs Kyle has, P, he has more, is greater than his sister, who has 10. So open circle at 10, and he has more, so we have to shade to the right. 11 is more than 10. 12 is more than 10. Okay. At this point, if you need the recording paused so that it can be retaken back to something for you to finish this, let's take the time to do that now. Otherwise, we're going to move on to the back side. On the back side, in activity 2, we are to select the best inequality for each word statement, but we are going to have, we're going to do more than that. We are also going to graph each of them, and that will be your expectation in your homework also for these multiple choice ones. So in number 1, Becca scored more points than Patty. Well, Becca scored more. Patty scored 10. Let B, they've already picked our variable for us and described it. B is Becca's score. And they typically do this in algebra. They pick a variable that a first word starts with, or the first letter of a word. So in this case, it's Becca. So they chose B for the first letter of her name. So if Becca scored more points than Patty, and Patty scored 10 points, and B is Becca's score, which of these 3 inequalities would be the correct one? So we are going to go with Becca's score is to be more than 10. So it looks like it's right away the first one. Let's graph that. So remember yesterday when we did these, I said you don't have to make such detailed graphs because that's kind of time consuming. We're going to put our endpoint kind of in the middle. We're going to get the integer neighbors on either side. So 9 is the integer neighbor smaller. 11 is the integer neighbor larger. It can't be 10, but we start at 10, so we have an open circle there. And again, remember, this is Becca's score. She scored, so if we weren't even looking at our inequality right now, Becca scored more points, so we'd have to shade going in this direction. Becca scored more points than Patty, so is 11 more than 10? Yes. Is 11, if we put 11 in for B, so here's our inequality statement. If we put 11, or any other number from that region for that matter, we'll put 11 though, is this a true statement? Is 11 greater than 10? Yes, that is true. So it appears we have a good choice. Okay, let's go on to the next problem where Tom got a 95 on the quiz. Ted got a higher score than Tom. So we already know what Tom got. Ted got a higher score. X, they say, and this is going to represent Ted's score. The one we don't know. We do not know Ted's score. We just know that he got a higher score than Tom, who got a 95. So let's analyze these inequalities. In A, it says 95 is greater than X. Or in other words, 95 is greater, that score of 95 is greater than Ted's score. Remember, Ted got a higher score. So I'm thinking that one might not work. How about the second one, B? X is less than 95. Ted's score, X, is less than 95. Well, no, that would mean he got like a 90 or something, and he got a higher score than Tom. So it looks like we were maybe left with choice C. Let's see if that one works. X is greater than 95. X, Ted's score, is greater than 95, which is Tom's score. That seems to be our correct choice. Let's make our graph. 95 is our endpoint, our significant point, it's often called also. 94 would be the first integer score to the smaller side, and 96 would be the next largest integer score to the larger side, and he didn't get the same score as Tom. He scored higher than Tom. Is this what the inequality statement we chose says? X, the shaded region, has to be more than 95. And it appears it is. So let's just try our X is greater than 95. Let's put the 96 in for the X and decide if that is true or false. 96 is greater than 95. True. So if Ted got a 96 on the quiz, that would meet the standards for this problem because he got a higher score than Tom did. Okay, a couple more and then we'll be done here. Linda is older than Susie. Linda is 15 years old. So again, we know Linda's age. She's 15. We know that she is older than Susie. Oh, so you know what? Susie seems to be the age we don't know. Susie, if Linda is older than Susie, Susie is younger. That is worth taking the time to write off to the side here. Because it's Susie's age that we have to represent in our inequality. So Y is going to be Susie's age. Right here it says Y is Susie's age. Remember, she's younger than Linda, who is 15. So Y, Susie's age, has to be smaller than 15. Which of these inequality statements shows Linda being her age being less than, smaller than, younger than Linda? So it appears it would be this one right here. Susie's age Y is less than 15. So don't get tricked by it says Linda is older and then think that means it has to be is greater than, because they gave us Linda's age this time. So we had to add a little statement there saying, well then that makes Susie, when we don't know, younger. So let's graph this. Open circle at 15, which is Linda's age. What we shade will represent Susie's age. And our inequality we chose says is less than 15. So if Susie is younger, as we stated, would 14 make her younger than Linda, who is 15? Yes. So we reason it out. We make sure that we have a good choice, not just circle one of them. So again, not only choose the inequality, but also graph it, because then the graph can help you make sense of if you have a good choice or not. Okay, and our very last one here. The temperature rose above 40 degrees. So the temperature rose above 40 degrees. So it's higher than 40 above. T is going to be our temperature. So with this one, we are not comparing it to anybody else. We're comparing it to saying the temperature was above 40. T is the temperature. So our temperature has to be more than 40, basically. Which of these inequalities says the temperature is more than 40? Well, the last one, C, this one says T is less than 40, the temperature would be below 40, so not that one. Let's work up. 40 is greater than T, or in other words, another way we can write this one is we can write it as T is less than 40. So that one actually says the same thing that C does. And we already nixed C, so now we're going to get rid of B. So A, T is greater than 40. The temperature is more than 40. It rose above 40. That appears to be our correct choice. So let's show the graph for it. You have to show me that you have good number line sense, that you can show where these numbers are on the number line. In other words, the correct location of when you have to put more than one number on the number line, you should be able to put them in proper order. So we have an open circle at 40 because it was above 40, and above 40 makes it go this direction. So the question is, if we substituted something from the shaded region, let's go crazy and pick a number other than that integer neighbor. Let's pick 50, because 50 would be in that direction, headed. There's lots of numbers greater than 40, one of them being 50. Is 50 greater than 40? The temperature rose above 40 degrees. So in other words, the temperature 50 is above 40. Sounds good to me. Okay, so this is what you will be doing some of in your homework today, along with some other things. And I have written in the homework on the worksheet itself the things where you're supposed to show work, what extra things you have to do. So if you have questions, make sure you are asking your teachers today. See you tomorrow.